Hey everybody, I'm Scott Weichel. You're listening to MKOCRadio.com. You have heard Arnold Connolly's music on our shows a whole lot, and we certainly really like his songwriting and his music. And he's got his own album out, which you have heard on our show, but he is also the member of a fabulous band from New Jersey called Fire on the Wire. And they also have a new album out. And believe it or not, we have got Arnold and Tom and Charles from the band with us tonight to talk about the new CD. How you guys doing?
Good, doing good, man.
All right, welcome to the show. Appreciate you taking time to be on tonight.
Thank you, there, Scott. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
And just proud to be part of My Kind of Country Radio, MKOCRadio.com. We're a big fan of you and the station and traditional country music and everything that you do to support what we do and the old-time artists that we just love.
Well, that goes right back to you, too. I appreciate all the shares and all the great comments and wonderful things you say, and not only for our station, but other great stations and artists. And I think you're all to be applauded. You know, it's in this day and age, it's a wonderful thing to help out other musicians and get their music heard, and I appreciate you guys doing that.
Well, we sure do appreciate it, Scott.
Well, let me go around the horn here. Tom, tell me a little bit about your musical background and how you came to be in this fine organization called Fire on the Wire.
Well, my career as such started back in the late 70s with punk bands. I was in punk bands. I was in rockabilly band. I did an album, a punk album in '83, and then kids got in the way and my guitar got put away for 20 years. And now I'm back with a different attitude. Older, much older.
No, we don't need to talk about that now. Come on.
Anyway, I'm the oldest guy in the band, so hey, Scott, I'm the young cop. Stuck in the middle, the divider. Yeah.
That's great. Well, you know, Tom, it's going back to punk music. You talk about people that were big in the punk scene back then. Elvis Costello certainly was one of those. Elvis Costello and the Attractions. But, but to his credit, he has done kind of the same thing. He's evolved with his music, and he's done everything from jazz to blues to easy listening. But he had a country album out that I absolutely love, and it's called Almost Blue. And he's written songs for George Jones. He sang with George Jones, and I think Elvis Costello is one of the greatest artists on the planet.
Oh, he's a talented guy, and no doubt about that. From where he started, yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, Charles, tell me a little bit about your stuff. You're playing steel guitar on this puppy along with lead guitar, right?
I'm trying.
Well, you did. You succeeded. It sounds pretty darn good. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
I just retired and got bored of laying around, so I figured I would do something, and I started taking a couple guitar lessons, and here I am today.
That's what it is.
Well, what kind of steel guitar are you playing?
I got a Peavey.
Fantastic! I love steel guitar. It's one of my favorite instruments, and I'm always in awe when I see a musician show up at a gig and set up a steel guitar. I mean, it's like a machine, man, and it takes a while to get that thing just right. I don't know how you guys do it.
Well, this here is a lap steel. It's not a.
It's not the full.
Oh, it's not a pedal. Okay. Oh, that's even cooler. I love lap steels, man, and of course dobro and everything. You play dobro too?
I don't know. I never tried.
Well, I bet you could. That would be really cool.
Yeah, I'm sure you could.
You know, Scott, we were talking, we were just, Tom, Chuck, and I most of the time, and Mark from time to time, but so, it'd be really cool to have a steel guitar. So he went out and bought one night, brought it to practice, and next thing you know, he's playing this thing, and we did a show or two with it, too. It's pretty cool. We don't play it all the time, but, it's just us guys having a good time, and so it's pretty cool.
That is really cool. Arnold, tell me about the rest of the guys that are in the group and on this CD.
Sure. Mark Benovic, I guess, Tom, you've known him for how long?
I've known Mark since he before he was driving when he was 16. In fact, him and I were in a rockabilly band in the early 80s, the Razorbacks. And they're still around. They play Daytona Bike Week a lot.
Oh, that's cool.
And, yeah, Mark plays a snare drum and a cymbal. That's all. He doesn't use a full kit.
That's all you need, man. Anything else kind of gets in the way, right?
Yeah, really. Overkill, I call it.
Yeah, when you're playing this type of music, when you're talking rockabilly and rock and country kind of stuff, that's really, it works out great. Even some of the country stuff. I know David Ball, his drummer, typically goes out with just a hi hat and a snare. Then he's got a suitcase there that he uses for a bass when he needs a bass drum, and and it makes a full great sound.
Yeah, and Mark is the energetic kind. He's got a snare drum with hooks that hook over his shoulder so he can run out into the audience. So he gets kind of crazy. But it's all in fun. All good fun.
Well, that's the main thing, having a good time with it. And I've seen some of your guys' videos on YouTube, and it looks like you're all having a blast together. And that is the most important thing. You got to have a good time, because then your crowd will have a good time if you are,
Yeah, right. And as far as the bass player goes, Johnny Cook was the bass player that played on the album with us, Fire on the Wire, when we recorded it. But now he's not our typical bass player. Most of the time we don't have a bass player. We just recently have John Sudia. He came on board with us, and he's played a show with us here and there. But 9 times out of 10, we get together every Tuesday night around this time, around 6 o'clock in the evening or so, or Wednesday, depending on how things are going. And we hang out for a couple hours. It's Chuck, Tom, and myself. And I usually have a new song. We try a new song. I love writing new songs and just playing it for the first time. It's an awesome, awesome deal. And hearing it for the first time with those guys and hearing how they interpret the song, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool. I want to ask Tom and Charles what they think of all your songs on this album.
Arnold is an incredible writer. This guy is a songwriting machine. I swear. We can't keep up with him. He's got more songs than we can play.
There would be no album if it wasn't for Arnold.
Yeah, that's for sure. There would be no Fire on the Wire without Arnold. But yeah, even his other work, we call it The Other Side, because it's not us. But those are incredible albums too. He's such talent. I'm glad to be part of it.
Well, I'm blushing here, guys. Cut it out. The truth is, we all got together. It was in June of 2016 for the first time at Mr. Music and here in Washington, New Jersey. And Louis Weatherall kind of hooked us up. He's a guy that I went there and started taking a few guitar lessons, and I played that Hank Williams song, that News Is Out All Over Town. That's not the call. You Win Again. That's the name of the song. I did it for him, and from then on, it was like, hey, I got to hook you guys up. And so he hooked Chuck and Tom and myself and Louis that night back in June of 2016, and we started playing. And then Tom said, "We want to play your stuff, Arnold," because he knew that I was a songwriter, and they kind of like floored me. I said, "I can't believe that." And he said, "Yeah, I want to play it." Next thing you know, we're playing my stuff, and the band kind of took off from there. And here we are I guess it's been 2 years ago now. We've been playing, and I just did it kind of like a bucket list thing. I went on to graduate school and got my MBA, and I said, if I can do that and work full time, the band thing, the music's always been a passion of mine, and I've been a songwriter since high school, really. And so I hooked up with these guys, and lo and behold, Chuck is from West Virginia. His family's originally from West Virginia, and I'm from Kentucky, so that worked out pretty good. And Tom's a New Jersey hillbilly, so it works out great.
That's great. Well, folks, you can go to a couple different places. ArnoldConnolly.com is Arnold's website, and Fire on the Wire's CD is available at cdbaby.com and also ReverbNation.com. They have a website there. You can check their music out and where they're going to be playing at. And tell me a little bit about how the name Fire on the Wire came about.
Well, I want to say, I always say Tom's the leader of the group. I may be the lead singer, but Tom's kind of like whatever he says goes. Just because I'm the oldest.
Well, that's right. It's a rite of passage, Tom.
Well, we were trying to come up with a name for the band, And I said, we were down Chuck's basement, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't it? And I just said, we've got the name of the band in the song there, Fire on the Wire. And it clicked, and that was it. And we all agreed on it, and here we are.
I like it. I like it a
So
lot.
we got a song named after our band, which is pretty unique. Not too many bands like that, I don't think. So
Well, we actually named the band
after the song, the song was written. The Fire on the Wire, which is on the CD, was actually written in Pittsburgh, PA, and I think it's 1996. I was up there waiting. Before I even knew these guys. I didn't know these guys just a couple of years ago now, and that song was written a long time ago. And I thought it was pretty unique. We thought about it, and there's how the name came on, Fire on the Wire. So that was pretty cool. And I designed the logo for it. I thought that was a pretty cool logo, Yeah.
It is a cool logo. I like it, and I like the name too. It's very, very catchy, and you just can't get your mind off of it once you hear that title, and then you got to listen to the album. There's some great songs on here, 12 songs. Of course, Arnold wrote everything on this album, and of course, Fire on the Wire, the title song. And Party Time in Jersey is another fun one, and I'll tell you what, the one that I really like a lot, Arnold, is I'm Still Hurting Over You.
Yeah, that's a good one. That could be a classic. That's right there.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites too. And one of my friends back home, which you played him on your show, Roy Henderson. His uncle Harold Henderson was one of my mentors, and he dated my mom for 20 years and everything. And he actually recorded that song in his home. He had a studio back home in Benton, Kentucky, and of course I'm in New Jersey tonight. But yeah, he recorded that song. He did a great job with it. Yeah, that's a down home, just good old fashioned traditional country song, and I appreciate you saying that.
Well, it is a great song, and Roy is a fabulous singer, and of course we play him on the shows too. And I always appreciate, Arnold, when you send these guys to me, because it exposes me to some new music, and I'm always happy to get them on the air. So I appreciate that. And for Roy, if you're listening, we're playing your music, man.
Yeah, and I always love it when you play it. If I try to catch it and let him know about it, Roy is he's kind of a small town celebrity back home in Western Kentucky. I've been to a few of his shows. When I go home, I take my mom dancing. Mom's 74, and I love going out. And Roy's always playing somewhere on a Friday or Saturday night, and I try to catch one of his shows. And he hasn't invited me up to sing yet, though, but I figure that's going to come eventually.
There you go. Well, I know the Single Wide Trailer, Arnold, I know you recorded that on your first album, and you guys did a version of that on this one, and I know that's a very autobiographical song for you.
Yeah, hold on, I love that, autobiographic. That's a big word there.
That's one of them fancy college words, y'all.
Yeah, that song, I did two songs. I wanted to do a Nashville version, and I wanted to do our Jersey version. I call our album Jersey Country, really. That's what it's a Jersey sound. And that song was written about me growing up in Western Kentucky, and we actually played it first, obviously with the band up here, and then I did a Nashville version of it as well, and I love both versions. I really wanted this album to be Fire on the Wire. I want it to be our sound because it's got a unique sound, and it doesn't sound anything like Nashville. I didn't want it to be Nashville. I want it to be Jersey country. And Rob Jackson is the engineer on that, producer, and Andrew Shervack mastered it at the Midnight Studios in Easton, PA, and so it's got our sound, it's got our stamp on it. I'm very proud of it.
Yeah, they did a very good job on it.
It is. It's a very, very good sounding recording. Well, Charles and Tom both, I want to ask each one of you guys pick one of the songs off of the album that you really like, and tell me a little bit about that song and why you like it so much.
Fire on the Wire is my favorite, probably. It's just like a go crazy. I call it the dust-up song.
Song.
It's just a hell-raising song there.
I'd say about the same.
Very energetic song. Yeah.
So, Tom, you agree with that?
Yeah, that Fire on the Wire is my favorite.
Well, I'm going to tell you what my favorite song is on the album, and this goes back when I first got a copy of this. the title, of course, hit me right away, and I played it, and I thought, man, I got to play this on the show. And Arnold's like, you're not going to play this on the air, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to play this on the air. And I know you guys know which one I'm talking about. You're an
I know exactly what you're talking about. I love it.
So I got to hear the story behind "You're an A-hole" to me.
Well, Scott, my wife would call that a side B song. Every song she hates, I know is a hit. So she hates that song, so I knew it was a hit. That's really a joke song. I mean, I hope nobody takes offense. It's really supposed to be funny. And what happened was one of my boss man, he took a job. He was with us here in Jersey, and things were going great. And I work in the rock quarry business here in Jersey, and he went out to Ohio, and he called me in one day. He was my boss at the time, and he said, I need you to come over here and sit down and have a drink with me. And I said, no, I'm working today. I can't do that, man. He says, well, you're going to take the rest of the day off. So he said, so I got over and I sat down with him, and he said, Arnold, he said, I'm going to Ohio. I said, oh, no, you ain't. He said, yeah, I'm going to Ohio. And I looked at him, he had two of the guys with him. I said, you're an a-hole or something like that. He said, I knew you was going to say that. So I wrote the song as a joke to him, because, he's not an a-hole. He's really my good friend, but, I kind of called him that. And so he went out to Ohio. Here's the funny part, Scott. He came back to Jersey, so now he's my boss again. So that song's about him, and, but it's a fun song. It's meant to be, and he knew it was just a joke. But, yeah, so when you played it on the station, I think that was the first song you played, if I recall, off the album.
Yep, it was. Yep.
I told my wife, because I was listening to your station, I said, you hear that? You hear that? I said, we got us a hit.
And I'm going to play again tonight, too.
All right.
Oh, you guys are great. Well, Fire on the Wire is available at ReverbNation.com and CDBaby.com. We'll put that information on our Facebook page as well. And ArnoldConnolly.com. You can get Arnold's other great albums there as well. And Arnold, Tom, and Charles, thank you so much for taking time to be on the show, and wish you guys the best. And thanks so much for giving us this fantastic CD. It's a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to playing some of these songs for our listeners tonight.
Thank you, Scott. It's great doing. We appreciate it, bud, and looking forward to hearing some great music on your show, as always, from other great artists, and just thankful to be on your show tonight.
Well,
Thanks a lot, Scott.
Hey, it's a pleasure. Thanks a lot, guys. We appreciate it. All right, here's some music from Fire on the Wire as we continue right here on MKOCRadio.com.
No, it's not what we wanted, but it's best for both of us. We both knew when it started, from the moment that we touched. Now here we are, miles apart, 18 hearts breaking apart. We're not free. We're not free. We can never be. Hearts on fire, flame desire. We're not free. What was once just for fun, when all of us spoke, as we both come to know the ones that we hurt. Now here we are, miles apart, aching hearts breaking apart. We're not free. nothing to do, but I had to get